Welcome to Game News of May 11th, 2013. I am your anchor, Chris, and these are my co-anchors, Rover.
Hello.
And Mike.
Hello.
We're not really anchors, we're Prinnies. I think you could tell by the shape of our head. But we start off with an ongoing story of TimeGate Studios, the studio who had a hand in the critical and consumer failure that was Aliens Colonial Marines, and recently declared bankruptcy after losing a case with South Peak Interactive over the game Section 8 they'd made back in 2009. According to two different sources, it's now laid off its entire staff and will likely close its doors completely on what was left of the studio. Or probably the bigger news of the week, rumor, seems to be that the new Xbox has an official name, according to International Business Times, and it is Xbox Infinity. Okay, so the title is...
Oh boy!
Yeah. It's not been officially launched or announced, so it could still be one of these other titles or something completely different.
Microsoft and Sony have been posting healthy economic recovery over the last 3 months, while many others have not been in such a happy place. Among these is Activision Blizzard, who is finally seeing declines in World of Warcraft after a year and a half of missing Pandaria. The numbers aren't just dwindling, though, they're dropping like a rock. They've lost 1.3 million subscribers in the last 2 months alone.
Dropping like an anchor.
Yeah. This drop leaves them with only 8.3 million. Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh my god, 8.3 million, we're going downhill forever.
No, I've heard this drop is largely in Asia, but I wasn't able to relocate that post that I saw that. It's also worth noting that I'm expecting them to be revealing Project Titan this year, which is probably going to be their next WoW.
And you had some Diablo news too, didn't you?
Ah yes, this week patch 1.0.8 released, and with its release they introduced a bug into the auction house, the Real Money auction house. I don't know the exact process players went through to do this, but apparently trillions of gold ended up being duplicated.
Oh wow.
After a few hours, Blizzard completely shut down the auction house and disabled all gold trading in-game. They had the bug fixed the same day that the patch released, but they left the auction house down. It just came back online Friday.
Did they get rid of the gold that was duplicated?
They've announced that they have managed to locate and reclaim 85% of the duplicated gold. Now that still leaves quite a large amount of gold.
Yeah,
but
15% of a trillion.
the punishment for being involved in this exploit is having your personal account rolled back to the day before 1.0.8 came out and having all of your gear set to bind on account, which means you'll never be able to sell the gear that you have. Yep.
Wow, that is mean and somewhat appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
Goose to show to behave.
Don't
Yeah.
with Blizzard's money, people.
Yeah. There was a petition on the forums when this first happened to have the entire game rolled back, but they decided not to do that and just punish the people that were involved in the exploit. Patrice Désilets, which is the creator of Assassin's Creed, had left Ubisoft to run THQ Montreal in 2010, but when THQ went bankrupt, Ubisoft bought the studio and its franchises, and it seemed like they wanted Patrice to stay on to run the team. Well, that was the case until this week when Ubisoft released an announcement saying that visions weren't meeting eye to eye about the direction the studio should go, and Patrice left Ubisoft. Well, that wasn't the whole truth, because hours later, Désilets himself told Polygon that he was handed a termination and escorted by gourds. Those darn gourds!
Guards, Joe!
Escorted by guards out the door without being able to collect his things or say goodbye to his team. Désilets went on to say he intends to fight Ubisoft for this action, for his team, and for his game.
That sounds a bit extreme.
Yeah.
Shades of what happened to Activision and the Call of Duty team.
Humble Bundle is back with the Double Fine Humble Bundle. Now, this is not like the other ones that I've seen so far. This package contains Costume Quest, Psychonauts, and stacking. You also get Brutal Legends if you beat the average donation, which means you give it up money. If you decide to pay $35, you get the Broken Age Kickstarter as well. I mean, you get access to the Broken Age Kickstarter and you get to play the game. If you pay $70, you get a stupid-ass t-shirt. I know I'm sounding kind of mean here, but what? What the hell is this? As always, a percentage of whatever you choose, unless you choose not to donate to them all, goes to charities like Electronic Foundation that helps fight stuff like the Sober Act, and it helps sick children through Child's Play, which is a service that was started by Penny Arcade that gives hospitals access to all sorts of games for both entertainment and rehabilitation for terminally ill and just sick children.
See, $70 is a bit of extreme for fashion.
A t-shirt.
But I understand it is like limited edition or something like that. So
Yeah.
It better be. It better be the best t-shirt ever. The Ouya scored a massive $15 million in extra funding from the venture capital firms and a post from GameSpot. On top of the record $8.6 million raised from Kickstarter last year, the group of investors, including NVIDIA, is using the money to support the delayed Ouya launch that is now on June 25th for the expected increase in demand. And this wasn't the only news, as Bing Gordon, former chief creative officer at Electronic Arts for a decade now, is now on the Ouya's board of directors. Gordon isn't strange to being on such boards as he's board of...
Oops, isn't a stranger. Sorry.
Gordon isn't a stranger to being on such boards, as he's on the board at Amazon, and dun dun dun, Zynga, and just happens to be a partner at the very firm that spearheaded the investors' funding, Kleiner Perkins, Caulfield, and Briars.
And Sony has confirmed once and for all that their new PS4 will not always be online. Shuhei Yoshida, Sony president of Worldwide Studios, said, quote, "Did we consider it? No, we didn't consider it. The main reason being that many countries don't have a robust internet connections, and makes sense for people to have internet connections to play online games, but for offline games, there are many countries that we saw do not really have a robust internet." He kind of sounded like he was repeating himself a little bit, but you cannot tell me that was not a direct shot at Microsoft. Meanwhile, Swedish dev Avalanche Studios, famed for the Just Cause series, has come forward to mention that they nearly had a deal to make an epic open-world sandbox Star Wars game like a Grand Theft Auto. Christopher Sundberg, Avalanche founder, even tweeted that it would have been likely that had the deal gone through, LucasArts may still be making games today. And speaking of Star Wars, a lot of Star Wars news actually, Star Wars The Old Republic MMO will be getting not one, but 2 updates between now and early June, including a ton of bug fixes and some minor improvements throughout, but will not include anything significantly new to the game. But
like tons of Disney characters.
But more importantly, EA penned a deal that will grant them exclusivity with the Star Wars brand, which has made some people scratching their heads because LucasArts may not be a developer anymore, but it is still a publisher. So yeah, but though many are excited that DICE, the developer behind Battlefield franchise, may well be bringing the next Star Wars Battlefront game, as so many have been waiting for years, possibly even emerging from the work that was Star Wars First Assault. We've seen some videos from that. But because of this announcement, as well as an extension of the FIFA license, the soccer group, football, say it right, and financial reports posting a profit of $98 million on their $3.79 billion in sales since the end of March 2012, despite whining the Crysis 3 nor Dead Space 3 met sales expectations, despite both of them being the top 3 sellers in their opening month just last February. But EA stocks have been soaring and continue to do so.
These stock prices actually caused EA Sports Executive Vice President Andrew Wilson to sell his entire stock of over 32,000 shares of the company, while the company was at its high stock price since 2011. He declined to comment, but at present doesn't seem to have any indication of leaving his job. He's just taking advantage of the still rising stock.
Wilson!
That EA stuff, my God, that's horrible. It's just like, all that happened. Now they're not going to learn a damn thing from SimCity. They're like, well, look, we're making tons more money. We're doing everything that we should be. And SimCity and EA games. Will Wright talked about the new SimCity in an interview with Game Industries International, saying that while he enjoys the game, what they did, what was going on with the game when it first started and was still gone, that was basically inexcusable, that you charge somebody $60 for a game and they can't play it. I can understand his outrage, while also saying that EA's bad reputation had a lot to do with the outrage. SimCity sales continue to do well as Update 3 is launched this week, and looks like it will fix a ton of traffic issues, RCI tuning, and a few other issues. I wouldn't know because I don't play the game anymore.
One of the biggest players in the biggest leagues of esports, Idra, was removed from the cross-gaming esports team Evil Geniuses this week. He's well known for his trash talking and rudeness. It was actually that very thing that caused his dismissal. Alexander Garfield, CEO of Evil Geniuses, released the statement that while they were well aware of Idra's attitude, they'd had no problem with it when it was all about trash talking in matches. But his recent statements against the StarCraft community as a whole, among other disrespectful remarks, made it impossible for them to consider him a professional or a representative of their team. Evil Geniuses also has teams in Dota 2, League of Legends, and Super Street Fighter 4 tournaments.
This is a reminder, people. Stop being assholes when you're a professional gamer!
Give me the money.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Adobe has made quite a few people cringe, as now the biggest software like Photoshop and Dreamweaver and Premiere will soon be based on a subscription system. That while you can still buy the standalone version of many other widely used systems, to take advantage of the growing cloud-saving technology, tech support, updates, and more, you'll have to start paying for it. I know that's not necessarily game-related news, but when you think about how many game industries use this software, especially the indie market, this is kind of a big deal. Since this seems to be the popular move, YouTube has also began a paid subscription system for individual channels. Currently, for 99 cents a month, users can subscribe to premium channels to watch full episodes of TV shows or unique programming being offered through special channels like National Geographic Kids, Acorn, which is a channel devoted to several British TV series, and the near future Sesame Street, among others.
I will totally pay the BBC money if I can watch their episodes on YouTube.
Sound like somebody was sorting through their Christmas lights there for a second.
That wasn't me.
And some of our rapid fire, I don't know if I could call it rapid fire, some of these are larger stories, but John Carpenter, the famous director for movies like Halloween and Escape from New York, went on to record in an interview with Game Informer that not only does he think that the Dead Space franchise is ready-made for moviedom, he also added that I would love to make a Dead Space movie, I'll tell you that right now. And I think I just ate a game show host.
If you haven't picked up Twisted Pixel game bundles on Xbox Live yet, you'll be kicking yourself. Well, you know what? I can't buy it on Xbox Live because my Xbox is broken. As of this week, with the 4-pack that included the Maw, Splosion Man, Comic Jumper, and Miss Splosion Man, was on sale for 800 Microsoft points and is now at 2,500 Microsoft points, the equivalent of about $30. This is still about 33% off, buying everything separately, but definitely not the great buy that was before, but try to go for it if you can. If your shit's not broken repeatedly like my Xboxes have been.
And about those Twisted Pixel game bundle things, that does not include any of the DLC, so keep that in mind when you're picking that up. And Square Enix announced that the Kingdom Hearts HD 1.5 remix will include Chain of Memories and Final Mix, plus cutscenes interwoven from the Nintendo DS version of 358/2 days, and is a PS3 exclusive that will ship on September 10th for $40. And Kookie's Japanese developer Compile Heart once again sees the return of undisputed emperor of video game music, Nobuo Uematsu, as well as Final Fantasy artist superstar Yoshitaka Amano, to both be included in the work of the dev's latest RPG called Fairy Fencer F for the PS3, expected to be in Japan before the end of the year. Meanwhile, Yuichiro Kitao, lead programmer of Tri-Ace for the last 14 years and famous for his work on the Star Ocean series, among others, announced he was leaving the company via Twitter this week. No other information at this time. Bethesda also announced the return of the granddaddy of first-person shooters in the form of Wolfenstein: The New Order, to be released late this year on PC, PS3, and Xbox 360. There we go. With a next gen soon after. And free-to-play MMO Arena Fighter Lost Saga officially? Yeah, that's how you say that, but for some reason I was picturing Trout. Officially launched in the US recently, and already rolling out some of the premium heroes you can buy into. Oddly enough, the first is Iori Yagami from King of Fighters. Seems like SNK is doing this a lot lately, putting their characters in other games. Mortal Kombat creator Ed Boon released a poll for fans to unofficially vote on a list of DLC characters that they'd like to see added to the DC superhero fighting game Injustice. This may be all for moot, though, as the leaked list already shows who's supposed to be the next two now that Lobo has been released, and Batgirl got a reveal trailer this week, including General Zod. Wait, what? Zod is in the one from the Superman movie?
Kneel before Zod!
Yeah, that dude. Okay. And Mortal Kombat's own Scorpion. Okay. And on MMOs, Defiance news returns once again this week, as the continued success of both the game and the series is seeing a second season greenlit for the show on the Sci-Fi Channel, as well as 5 new DLC packs.
A modding toolkit for Witcher 2 accidentally went public far earlier than it was meant to. They said for anyone that grabbed it before they blocked the links to enjoy the kit, but they have more work they want to do to it before its official release.
Uh-oh. Spaghetti-o. Gears of War Judgment gets another Maximum sponsored DLC in the form of Maximum sponsor. There's some my brain. Okay. In the form of a free new map called Dreadnought for the game's Overrun mode. Minecraft's latest snapshot update, 13W19A, because it's been really confusing the way they've been updating lately. We now have over 35 different breeds of horses. There's also donkeys and pack mules, so they're like mobile chess. And a whopping 16 new blocks made from clay that you can now dye. These haven't been included in the 19A, but they've been strongly hinted at, from what I can tell, as a new mountain biome and a major inclusion of something they've been talking about for a long time now, seasonal changes. And lastly, a little salute to Ray Harryhausen. He's inspired so many people that did get into the game industry. The visual effects wizard, known for some of the greatest effects in Hollywood in his heyday, died this week at the age of 92, including the original Mighty Joe Young, the original Clash of the Titans, as well as Jason and the Argonauts and lots of the Sinbad tales from back in the day. And he's had a part in special effects for pretty much up until his deathbed. But that is game news for May 11th, 2013. Join us. I'm Chris.
I'm You just sound like a creeper when you did that. My brain just went blank.
I'm going to explode. Oh no, help me!
What?
And that's not going to help you. It's just going to laugh and let you do it.
You know, creepers and Prinnies have a lot in common.
Yes, they do. I think we should team up. But I'm Grover.
And I'm Mike.
Until next time, America and Europe, Asia. Until next time, world.
See you next time.